Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. Do Americans really understand the fundamentals of government? Well, in a 2022 survey of 1,113 U.S. adults conducted by the Annenberg Public Policy Center, less than half, 45% of those surveyed, were able to name the three branches of government, which is down from 56% in 2021. And when questioned about the protections in the First Amendment, 1 in 4 respondents, 26%, said they can't even name any or don't know, compared with 17% in 2021 and 19% in 2020. Despite these numbers shrinking, the sad truth is that 2020 and 2021 had abnormally high levels of correct responses, and the numbers are returning to their historic average. The reason for this rise and fall was explained as follows. The Annenberg Public Policy Center's annual nationally representative survey showed notable increases in 2020 and 2021 after tumultuous years that put the role of government and the three branches under a media spotlight. In those 2 years, the survey was run amid a pandemic and government health restrictions, 2 impeachment inquiries, a presidential election, an attempt to disrupt congressional certification of the electoral vote, criminal trials of the individuals charged in the assault of the U.S. Capitol, and waves of social justice protests, among other events. These numbers rose during all that time and now are beginning to fall again. But even at their peak, only 56% of people could name all three branches of government. So basically half at the peak, which does not bode well for American politics. And that historic average it's returning to sits around 30 to 40%. So closer to 1/3 of people are typically able to name all three branches of government, which is the most basic of basic civics. Something that apparently has gone completely out the window when teaching to our youth, and something that people don't consider relevant basic fact at all. Despite everybody in the modern day having strong political opinions, they can't name the functions of government in which to push their political agendas. I'm just astonished by this. It's way worse than I thought it was. I'm sure it's surprising to you as well, and it is a really bad sign for the future going forward, as these people have the same right to vote as you do. 1 in 4 people could not name any of the three branches of government. 25% exactly, which is up from 20% in 2021. So the amount of people who can't name all three has gone down, and the number of people who can't name any has gone back up. And these people vote. 20% of people can't name a single branch of government, and they vote. Their vote has the same weight that yours does. This is bizarre. It's bizarre to run a country where people who are uninformed are allowed to make changes. How can you make a positive change if you're uninformed about it? You can't acknowledge the consequences or the driving factors or even the mechanisms for how to initiate change, being that through the government. And it just goes to show that voting is a skill. Like anything else, it requires knowledge, it requires expertise, and we're not teaching it like it's a skill. Yes, it's a right, but just because it's a right does not mean you don't have to polish up on it. You don't have to take care of it. And that's the problem that we're teaching people is vote regardless of how informed you are. That's why Vivek is putting forward his program to raise the voting age to 25, unless you have military service prior and some other exceptions. But now you're having these talks about changing voting rights all the time because each side has different voting blocks based on age and occupation and whatnot. But there's also this major group of people who vote who have no basis to vote, honestly. No, they have no idea how the system works. They barely have any idea what they actually want to attain in the future. And they're still allowed to vote in total ignorance. Looking at protections under the First Amendment, freedom of speech was cited by 63% of people, down from 74% in 2021 and 73% in 2020. Freedom of religion was named by 24%, down from 56% in 2021 and 47% in 2020. Freedom of the press was named by 20%, down from 50% in 2021 and 42% in 2020. The right of assembly was named by 16%, down from 30% in 2021 and 34% in 2020. And finally, the right to petition the government was named by 6%, down from 20% in 2021 and 14% in 2020. So these numbers have shrunk 20, 30% in 1 year from 2021 to 2022. As soon as it's not on people's mind, like a goldfish, it's completely gone. It's not an inherent fact that you just know the three branches of government. And people don't consider it necessary information. Obviously, their brains don't, because their brains think as soon as it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And the fact that some of these are just completely unbalanced, freedom of speech being above and beyond by 39 points, the most well-known, and the right to petition the government is the smallest. 6% of people can name it. 6%. That means that 94% of people who can vote have no idea about the right to petition the government. It's astonishing. It's just astonishing that we have such an undereducated population where we look and praise this historic high at 50%. It's bonkers that we have less than half the population constantly, close to 1/3 typically, that don't know what's going on. And look, you may write off this one, oh, they just don't know this one specific fact. Well, it's the basis for our entire governmental system. And it's a key indicator of their knowledge base of more advanced politics. If someone doesn't know how to add and subtract, how are they going to know calculus? And in order to be a functioning member of society, in terms of your civic duty, you got to know the government like it's calculus. You really should. To be an informed citizen, to make informed decisions, it requires some solid knowledge base and some critical thinking. Two things we've totally removed from the education system, now that it's basically become a glorified daycare and indoctrination camp. So what do? Well, we can keep trying to teach it in schools, which we're not even in the first place, but we also have to make it, you have to explain the reason why it's important. People learn a lot of things in school, and they forget a lot of things, almost just as much as they learn. So this just goes to show that everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has the facts. And now that you've heard what I think, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.